You want to get some of this and then some of me as well. But you probably don't know much about the stock market. And so today, I'm going to cover why the stock market crashed, and then I'm going to finish with some practical lessons as far as like stuff that you can take with you, put in your pocket, and just say, this is stuff I need to know for the future about the stock market. Keely, you with me?
Yeah.
The stock market is essentially, I'm just going to tell you what it is. It's a vehicle to create wealth. It's a step above gambling. It's legalized gambling. You can actually look up a lot of information, so there's information that goes with it. So I don't even know what to say. That it's just like, it's one of those vehicles you can make a lot of money, but you can lose a lot of money. And you just need to know that in your life, some people love it, some people hate it. We always do a stock market simulation in my virtual enterprise class because I feel like it's good for kids to know how it works. So we give them $100,000 and they have to spend it over the next 3-4 months and see if they can make money. Lots of people wind up losing lots of money. Okay? The people who are doing this on a daily basis are called day traders. A day trader is someone who trades stock every day. They're buying and selling stock when the stock goes up $1 and then they make their money on the $1 gain. So if I buy 100,000 shares of stock, then now I have 100,000 shares, and if it goes up $1, now I've made an extra $100,000. Okay? And that's how people make money. Now, the one thing that you want to know is that when you buy and sell stock on a short amount of time, you have to pay taxes, 28% tax on that money. A lot of you don't know anything about the stock market. A lot of you may not ever mess with the stock market. Have I ever day traded? Yes, I did it one time. I did what's called buying on margin. Buying on margin is something you can enable within your stock trading account, which allows you to borrow up to half the value of your account. Let's do a simple equation. So if you have $1,000, let's say you have $2,000 in your stock market account because you need $2,000 to open up an Ameritrade stock account to trade stocks. They will let you borrow up to $1,000 to borrow to just do whatever you want with. And so I borrowed like $50,000 because my stock market portfolio is worth $125,000, and I borrowed $50,000, and I needed to make $10,000 to buy stock, or I needed $10,000 for my wedding. Okay, and so I enabled buying on margin. I bought Yahoo stock, and I've never been so stressed out in my entire life. It was the most stressful couple days, and I'm like sitting there going, okay, go, 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 go. And it went up, and it went down, and my heart and my life, I'm like, oh my gosh, don't ride this roller coaster anymore. After the second day, I'm out. I don't even care if I don't have the $10,000 for my wedding, for the stuff that we needed for. I'm out. And so I just sold it, put everything back in my account, and I just stopped it. It's too stressful. But a lot of people, if you buy on margin, you're losing money that you don't have. It's like credit card purchasing, right? It's like people buy stuff on their credit card and they never pay for it, right? And that's part of the reason why the United States got into the problem it did in 2008 and 2009, because people were buying technically on margin. The stock market crashes the same way. So today, our first group of circles, we're going to go over what caused the stock market crash. So everything goes in the circle.
There's 6 of them, and there's 3 here. So the back's a little off.
Okay, we're all good.
Yeah, I mean, there's all the ones that are over there.
I told the stock to make
2 and 1. There's 6 up there, and then we have 3.
Yeah, so you don't have to write them all down if you want to. The whole point of this is that I'm just going to go over the reasons why. Because, you know, I mean, I'm going to go over all 6, and you can write down 3. But there's so many. So the stock market crash is separate from the dust storms. The stock market crash is one thing that just took place prior to a lot of the other stuff that was taking place in the economy and at the time of the Great Depression. And so people had, but there's a variety of reasons why this took place. And so I just want to share with you why. You can write 3 of them down. The first one was hoarding money. So if you don't have a lot of faith in the banking system, then you would take your money when you get paid and you would put it in your mattress. And that was something a lot of people did. And if you look at some of your great-grandparents or your grandparents, they still hoard stuff, rubber bands, cans, canned goods, you know, all sorts of things. Your grandparents just have They just save stuff because they don't believe in throwing anything out. And they will forever be that way. They will never change if they live through the Great Depression. And so that's the first one. And the reason why this is so bad is because our money moves through our economy. So if you have a job, you go to work and they pay you money, and then you take that money and you go buy stuff, food, go to the supermarket. And the money flows through the economy, and it's supposed to flow. And all of a sudden, if I start taking my money and put it in my mattress instead of the bank, because the bank takes that money and loads it out to people, there's a problem. Is everybody okay with this first one? Did I explain that good enough? Okay, if you have questions, you need to raise your hand. I know you have questions. Yeah. Nope. Anyone else have a question? Just stop me, ask me a question, because we'll have lots of time. The gold standard. The United States used to be on what's called the gold standard. For every dollar that we had in the United States, we had gold to back up the gold standard. I want to look real quick in my notes just to make sure I tell you the correct dates. But we are not on the gold standard anymore. You used to be able to go to the bank and you could take your money, give it to the bank, and they would give you the exact amount in gold for the gold standard. And that's exactly what it was. I believe we left the gold standard in 1933. So we were on it. If you want to put the dates down, you can. From 1791 until 1933. And we left the gold standard. We decided that gold is too volatile, gold goes up and down all the time, and that people's money should be more flatline than that, and that you shouldn't attach something to a commodity. And so we left the gold standard. And that means we were able to print as much money as we needed, because remember, a lot of people were hoarding money. And so if you leave the gold standard, then we could put that money into the economy and get the money flowing a lot better. So Fort Knox and all the gold that was there, like we didn't have to back up the dollars that we printed. And so to this day, here's the big question. I always ask this of my econ kids. What gives your dollar the value of a dollar? Like, why is it worth $1? Or $10, or $20, or $50, or $100? He's like, dude, it says $100. Stop messing with me. I don't know. I should know this. I'm a junior in high school. Anyone know?
Silver?
No, we wouldn't go from the gold standard to the silver standard, because that would be the same thing. I'll tell you. Here you go. Here's your one thing. Your dollar is worth $1 because you believe it's worth $1. It's because you believe that $20 bill is worth 20 bucks. If you didn't believe it was worth 20 bucks, and like the rest of the 350 million people in the United States, that would be a problem. And that's it. That's the simple, basic truth of it all. Even though you're like, no, there's got to be more to it than that. No. And sometimes when the government prints too much money, the value of the dollar goes down. And that's why it takes more dollars to buy things than it used to. Why are cars so expensive right now? Okay, we've printed billions of dollars in the last 10, 15 years. Go look it up. And so we've had inflation, right? Why does things cost so much? Because we've printed so much money, right? We flooded the market with dollars, okay? And that's part of something our government's done. The next one, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. What a fun one. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. So we decided in the 1930s to tax countries that were exporting their goods into the United States. So we were importing them. Guess how much we taxed them? Take a guess. 50%. We would tax countries 50% to import goods into the United States. Now, if I'm importing something that, let's just use, let's use a car. A car costs $30,000, and I'm going to attach you 50% of the price of that good into the United States. So a $20,000 car is now going to get taxed $10,000. How much do I have to sell the car for to make money? The cost of the good's 20, the tax on it's 30. Henry Ford's selling his car for like 15. Mine costs 30 out of the chutes, and I haven't made any money yet. Do you see the problem? Why would I sell that car in the United States, Tyler?
Is it like tax on each individual item, or like all
Well, I mean,
together?
it's just all the items if you're going to import a bunch of stuff. It's a 50% tax.
All the total cost.
Right, so it's basically shutting out any country that would want to import or export goods into the United States, which we thought, oh, this will be a great thing because that way everybody will buy American. The problem, you lose competition, so that the availability of getting cheap goods from other countries isn't there. So that was the problem. And so that was a really bad idea. So this is another reason we're going to have the stock market crash. So you have the lack of amount of goods in the United States. The next one, stocks were overpriced. I'll tell you my story. 1995, I got a job here at Mission Viejo High School. I was eating at places like the Dollar Burrito in Santa Barbara. Okay, I was a college student. I lived out of my car for 3 days because I had no place to rent. I told my parents, I'm like, going off to Santa Barbara, and I don't have a place to stay, but I'll figure it out when I get there. So I had all my stuff in my car, showed up, knew a friend up there, called him up, hey, can I stay with you for a couple days till I figure out where I'm gonna live? Sure, you know. So everything's in my car, so I'm like homeless, right? So then eventually I rented a place. So I get a real job, like now I'm making money. I was making like $1,200 a month. My rent was $300 a month, okay? All the rest of it was like cash money, so I just put it in the bank. And then I'm like, well, what do you do when you just have like lots of extra money? My dad's like, well, you know what you do? You just invest in stocks. I'm like, all right. So I started like picking like Oracle and Intel and Sun Microsystems and Cisco, and I just started picking stuff. But see, it's 1995. You could do no wrong. You could throw a dart at the newspaper and make money, right? The stock market was going like this. And so I turned 20 grand into $125,000. And it's not because I was smart. It was just I had my money in the right place at the right time, okay? And then I lost it all. I lost all of it except my original investment. And now I only have like 5 grand in the stock market in individual stocks. But it was one of those things where you can make a lot of money and stocks were overpriced. And eventually there's a market correction, right? Chipotle stock's what? Who knows? Like $400, $500, $600 a share, okay? When you buy a share of stock, let's say you open up an Ameritrade account and you want to buy like 5 shares of Chipotle stock, okay? You put in your order, you can buy it at whatever price you want, meaning you can buy it at the market price, whatever it is today, or you can buy it, you know, hoping that it'll go down to like $500 a share. But you own a small chunk of that company. And the cool part about it is that company is essentially working for you. And if they make money, you get a portion of the profits. How cool is that? So their stock rewards you by going up. I bought Apple before the iPhone came out, right? I'd held Apple for years, and Apple didn't go up at all. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, Apple. You came out with the iPod, you changed the music world, and now I've got your stupid stock, and it's been like at 75 to 99 bucks for like a good 3 years. And I sold it right before the iPhone came out. And it went up, and it's called a stock split. You should be all just paying attention to what I'm saying right now. Alexander, you with me over there? A stock split is when it reaches a certain price, and the owners of the company say we're going to split it. And so if I have 100 shares of the stock, you now have 200 shares of the stock. Okay? But wait. The price goes back down. So if it was 100 bucks and they split it, now it's 50. Do you see what I'm saying? And they split that because they want people to have. So are you interested in buying Chipotle stock at $600 or $700 a share? But what if it goes up, stock splits, so now it's $350 a share? Yeah, maybe. And then it goes up again and it splits, and now it's like $40 a share. Or they give you a 3-for-1, 3 stocks for 1. Well, it's cheaper, yes, that's good, but the stock is more liquid, right? It's not as valuable as it was before, right? When it was $600, $700 a share. You guys with me on that? That's called a stock split. Some companies, like GE, do what's called a DRIP fund. So you can call up a stock company if you're like, hey, I don't want to see it. I just want to buy that particular stock every month for $100 a month. And so I had what's called a DRIP fund. A DRIP fund is where you can invest in a company every month, a certain amount of money, and it just starts accruing stock. It buys as much as you can buy for $100 a month. And I did that forever with General Electric. I did it for like 14 years. So I had like 500 shares of this company. That was, when I bought it, was worth $30 a share, and I think it's still $30 a share. Some companies don't move. Banks don't move. Okay, banks like, here's a bank, flatline. Microsoft was $27 a share forever. Okay, but if you bought Microsoft in like 1979 and you sold that one share in like 2001, you would be a very rich person. Okay, because Microsoft basically set the course for mobile computing. Okay, with their PC and their laptops. So there's a lot to learn. There's